Alright, hello everyone. Uh, I say everyone as if I don't literally have like 10 subscribers on my entire channel. But um, this is very different from my only other upload as of, right now. Uh, which was an album I found in a record store that I had ripped to um, CD and then from CD to digital files, which Um, obviously this is nothing like that, but I feel like making this because, well, I've wanted to make YouTube videos for a long time, but I've never found myself particularly fond of the idea of like making it a big thing, like a regular thing, like trying to make a career out of it, Um, I always thought it would be fun when I was younger to like be like big on YouTube, but honestly, in order to do that, you need to have some like otherworldly dedication to just cranking out videos consistently on consistent topics that stimulate the algorithm well, and you just need to keep doing it until something works. And I don't fuck with that, honestly. Like, I want to make videos for fun, I want to broadcast myself. That's what YouTube is supposed to be for anyway. So, yeah, I'm just going to play Minecraft and talk about various things that are on my mind as of lately. And, I might do this regularly, I might not. You'll get the next episode when you get it. But I know I won't be playing any off camera. I'm just going to be recording. So I guess we should begin. I haven't played Minecraft in a bit. I had a server with a bunch of friends, but we played on like 1.21.4 or 3 last we checked, and there's been a few updates since then. As you can see, you got these happy little guys now, which I think is kind of cute, honestly. It's nice to see them not screaming and miserable. Guess. What shall we call the world? Truly the first and foremost conundrum in creating a Minecraft world is choosing a good name for it. Bird. Yeah, that's good. Let's play on hard, because what do I look like, a normal person to you? Okay. Interesting spawn. We're in a cave. There's a tree right in front of us. I think... Do we leave this as like a spawn marker? But yeah, as you can see, I've got a few mods installed. Nothing that changes the gameplay at its core. Just like mainly performance enhancements and just other client-side nice-to-haves, like we've got Jade installed, so, it's a what am I looking at type mod, of course. Wait, why am I... Something's wrong. After pressing W for a bit, it like stops me from walking. What the fuck? Okay, I don't know what that was. But we're just gonna keep playing. It keeps happening. What the fuck? Are one of my mods fucking this up? There's nothing that should, like, interfere with how the controls work. Because Krypton is, networking. Sodium is graphics, the rendering engine. Lithium is... I'm not sure what all of Lithium does, but maybe Lithium is the culprit, though I've never had it do this to me before. Ferrite core. Reduces memory. I mean, I don't really need this. I've got 48 gigabytes of RAM on my system, so RAM is not really a consideration. But yeah, hopefully I can get this figured out, because this is really annoying. I don't want to have to keep pressing W every 2 steps, especially since my keyboard is so loud. You can probably hear it through the microphone, actually. I don't think this has anything to do with my keyboard itself, because, again, I've never had this happen in a game before, ever. So, and if I keep jumping, it works. So long as I'm doing something else alongside pressing W, I can keep going. So, I don't know what's up with that. Whoops. I had a thought in my head. I was like, oh, if I just hold right click when nothing's in my hand, I can just walk, probably. Which, no, I can't. That doesn't work. Okay, so I just have to get past the initial hurdle. So I have to do, like, jump enough in the beginning to just allow myself to move constantly, which, that's really stupid. I don't... Okay, yeah, that's a hole. Anyways, yeah, I guess I'll get on with the talking. Well, look, you know, that was talking, but, you know, whatever. I'm probably not going to edit this much, because I kind of like it just being raw. It means that I have to stay, you know, doing something. I have to stay at least a little bit engaging in order to make an interesting video out of it. And it's much easier. I can just slap the fucking video onto YouTube, and it's fine. Maybe I'll make a thumbnail. I don't know if I will. Actually, you know, that'd be really fun. I might do that. What is this? Oh. Leaves. That's amazing. What can you do with these? What can you do with leaves? Roughly Enough Items, unfortunately, is not on this version yet, so gotta use the... Okay, I need to I need to see if I can fix this. Auto jump's off. Okay. Is it like distance based, or is it like time based? Because if I go like this, okay, it seems to be time based. Sprinting seems to fix it. Jumping seems to fix it. But this is really annoying. I don't want to keep doing this. Yeah, I'm gonna pause the recording right here and go figure out why it's happening, hopefully. Okay, I don't know if that's what fixed it, but I turned numlock on, and now I can walk. So, wait, let's see. Yeah, it doesn't look like that's what fixed it, but something did. So I'm not gonna question it. I'm not gonna complain. I'm just gonna play Minecraft. Let's look for a good place to build. Build our little first house. I guess we should grab some wood while we're next to the forest. Maybe we should build down on this beach. That would be nice. Though I do want something like nice and flat and open. I mean, this is pretty flat. I don't think it would be too difficult to terraform this once we get some, you know, like decent tools, like at least iron. But, you know, I don't expect it to be super important, because I'm not the type to build like too many farms and stuff. Usually, I used to play Minecraft pretty much exclusively as a multiplayer game. Like, I just hop on with friends after school, back when I went to school, and and that would be my entire experience with the game, pretty much. I'd occasionally boot up a single-player world, but you know, it's hard sometimes to commit to one. So the movement glitch, thankfully, I don't know. I don't even know if it was. I don't know what caused the problem. I don't know if it's the fact that I'm using I'm using a 1992 IBM Model M keyboard as my main keyboard. I don't think that's the culprit though, because it's never caused me any issues before. You know, aside from not having a Windows key, but I use Linux, so it's not that big of a deal. And my window manager, because of course I use a fucking tiling window manager, is configured to use Alt instead of Super / the Windows key as the modifier. So it's like a complete non-issue for me because like pretty much nothing uses the Windows key. Like no games or applications or stuff require it, because usually that's reserved on Windows, at least for system stuff, which is nice because it means, again, I don't need one. Anyways, I've had a history of trying Minecraft single player stuff and then just giving up on it. I tend to do that with a lot of things. It's just hard for me to stick with stuff, you know. It's not that I don't care about anything. I think, you know, if that were the case, that would be really depressing. It's just it's hard to care about one thing for like a sustained period of time, enough to want to do that thing for a sustained period of time, which is why a lot of things I've been interested in, like, you know, playing the guitar, as an example, I haven't really developed as a skill very much because I just can't stick with it, because I don't know, I feel like I lack passion for a lot of things. I feel like that in its own way is depressing, but you know, it is what it is, and I'm trying to find things that I truly enjoy, and I don't know, I feel like one of those things, even though I'm really, like, I'm pretty bad at it, but I like people, you know. Yeah, sometimes I'd like to say that I hate people, but I don't think that's the case. I think I like people. I'm just afraid of socializing with them at times because I'm bad at it. And I'm afraid that if I say the wrong thing, that it's just going to ruin everything. Let's build our little starter house down here, maybe, like, yeah, maybe a little 4x4. I like even numbers. My favorite number is 6. It's not a very important fact to know about me, but I figure I'd mention it. I remember, well, no, I don't remember, but I was told that when I was a kid, there was, you know, on Sesame Street, there's Ernie and Bert, and they live together, and they were talking about their favorite numbers on one episode, and Bert says that his favorite number is 6, and Ernie's like, "Come on, Bert, no one's favorite number is 6," and that really offended little me because my favorite number was 6. So yeah, random tidbit of Woodrow lore to drop on you. What was I even talking about before the number? I have a very terrible short-term memory, as you might come to see throughout watching this and any potential future episodes. I'm just not good at remembering things. I'm not sure why. I feel like I didn't used to be this bad. Maybe the internet's rotted my brain out. Maybe, I don't know. I kind of do this thing sometimes where I pretend to not know something just because I want to ask someone about it, you know? Which is weird because I'm usually pretty averse to asking people things. But yeah, that's a thing I do sometimes, and I think I've just done it so much that I just can't remember things now. And it's not always because I just want to ask someone it just because, you know. A lot of the time it's also just like I don't feel very confident in my knowledge of whatever. So I'll ask about it just in case, even though, you know, like 80% of the time I do that, I already know the answer to the question I'm asking, but I ask it anyways. And I think maybe that's just like, oh, that scared the shit out of me. Thank you, Minecraft Piano. I'll be sure to kind of quiet that down in post because I don't know how loud it's gonna be. Also, sorry if I'm just wandering around a lot. I just do it when I'm talking. It's hard for me to focus on talking and doing another thing at the same time. Which honestly, that's probably why I forgot what I was saying earlier, because I was focusing on building the house, and my brain kind of just locks in. Okay, we're gonna come in here and block off all the future windows. So yeah, I guess now would be a good time to talk about things, because I can't really do much besides wait for daytime. I didn't grab any wool, so there's no skipping night. And I don't know how long this night's gonna be, but we'll see, you know? I guess to kind of turn the topic into like a less fun one, a more personal one, I should say. But it's, you know, obviously on my mind, but I recently went through a breakup with my partner of about 7 months, and, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I guess 7 months isn't that long, but for me, that is a long time, because I've been in a lot of relationships, and most of them haven't lasted more than like 4 months, which, you know, at that point, obviously it's my fault that they're not lasting that long. And yeah, I'm not great at being in relationships, I don't think. I've got a lot to work on before I think I'll feel ready to start a new one. But yeah, the circumstances of the breakup were, it was a mutual thing, you know, and also more of a thing of circumstance, because, well, he lives in Pennsylvania, I live in Virginia, and obviously, you know, we're not like right on the border of our respective states, so that's a considerable distance away. So yeah, and that isn't really helped by the fact that neither of us have cars or driver's licenses. Sorry. And, you know, it just, the distance stuff became a little too much to bear. It became quite difficult, so we decided that it was the best course of action to call it quits. Even though neither of us wanted that to happen, because, you know, we care a lot about each other still. We didn't have a falling out or anything, thankfully. And I'm glad, because that guy means the world to me still. And probably always will as a friend, you know. But yeah, it still hurts, kinda, you know, even though things went so well. About as well as you could expect a breakup to go. But yeah, I'm I'm doing all right. Don't worry. Don't worry about me. Um, but yeah. Back to the other thing I was talking about. Could Drown shut the fuck up? Holy shit. I'm gonna go out and kill him. I don't care if I get killed and have to respawn and walk all the way back to where I am at. Okay. I'm just gonna snag that flesh just in case. We've got 5 apples on us, so we're doing pretty good food-wise. I'm gonna make a chest. I usually don't. I usually wait to make a chest until my inventory is already full, but let's not do that because being prepared is better than not doing that. You can absolutely quote me on that if you want. That is probably the most profound thing I've ever said. Anyways, yeah. I'm not so good at relationships, but I think I'm getting better. This last one was definitely went much better than the previous few. In that, we were just a lot more mature about it than, both I and my previous partners were. Well, that's not to say that I was never entirely at fault for, the ends of previous relationships. I'm just saying that, I don't know. I'm not very good at wording things. You see why I worry a lot about being misinterpreted. Because I just tend to say things without thinking them through sometimes. And thinking them through, because thinking them through fully takes time, and it's hard to do that and talk at the same time. So I'll usually just sit there pondering it for like a solid 5 seconds before I speak, which I feel like that's pretty normal. I think really it's talking and thinking at the same time is kind of a, of course it happens. Of course everyone does that, but like to a like developed extent is definitely a skill that needs to be developed and not simply something that everyone can always do. Or maybe I'm just fucking stupid. I don't know. I feel very alienated from like other people sometimes. A lot of the time, I should say. Back when I went to high school, I would sit alone mostly. Even if, in my classes I was at tables with other people, I would just keep to myself most of the time. I'd only really speak when spoken to. I had a few friends in high school, and they were pretty great, honestly. Well, most of them. One of them turned out to be a terrible person. Thankfully, though, he's going to jail. Prison, I should say. He's going to prison. And yeah, I don't know if he's ever going to see this. He knows who he is if he is seeing this, but if you are seeing this, please never try to contact me again. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. I hope you can respect that, and if you don't, then yeah, I don't know. I'm not very prepared for the if you don't, but by the time you do end up seeing this, I probably will be. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, I'm not good at socializing. I think I'm talking more now. This is a longer conversation. I guess I'm just talking to myself really. But this is a longer conversation. Oh, it's daytime. Than I've had with any other person in a bit, which maybe that's sad, but it only bothers me sometimes, really. It does bother me though. I would like to be better at talking to people, but it's kind of a thing you just have to do. And that's one of my biggest regrets really, is not talking to more people in high school, because, you know, back then I was surrounded by people all the time, every day. And now I work from home, and I don't really have any like social outlets outside of home. I'm not a part of like any like local groups of any interests or anything. I'm not religious, so I don't go to church. There's nothing really for me to call a community. In person at least. I have made quite a few friends online, but it's just not the same, you know? Not to knock online friendships, they can definitely be as rich and fulfilling as, well, maybe not quite as fulfilling, but mostly as fulfilling. Let's say like 90% as fulfilling as in-person friendships, like best case scenario, in my experience at least. Yeah, I'm doing the wandering thing again. I need to focus and get some stone, which it looks like there's a ravine over here, so let's check that out. That's kind of yeah, I love the mini map because you can never tell what's a ravine and what's just going to be a little divot in the ground. Which I don't know if this would be classified as a ravine. I'm not a geologist. I took a geology class in high school though. That was really fun. Fuck! Oh! Oh no! Oh, that's the first death of the world. Yeah, I guess that's why you don't dig straight down. Yeah, that was a ravine. But I don't know if the earlier part would be considered part of it, or if it was, you know, if it wasn't part of it, what would it be considered? I'm not a geologist, but I took a geology class in high school, as I said. And that was really fun. I enjoyed that a lot, actually. It was hard at times because it was a college level course. In Virginia, it's called dual enrollment, but I'm not sure if that's what it's called in your state or country, or if you call it something else. But you get the idea. It's a high school class you get college credit for as well. That's about as, you know, mostly as difficult as taking it in college would be, but you don't have to take it twice, which is nice. I definitely made use of that in my junior and senior years in high school, because I was big on going to college back then. I actually did go to college for a little bit, community college, but I dropped out earlier this year because, you know, just college plus the rest of life made everything too stressful, you know. And I was majoring in computer science, which I thought that's what I always wanted to go into. I thought so, at least. I just, you know, I didn't enjoy the classes like I thought I would. Which, you know, maybe college isn't always supposed to be fun. It's about, you know, getting a degree, but I guess I figured if, like, you know, I'm gonna sit around for 4 more years, paying thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars to learn something so that I can go get a job in a field that I don't want a job in, then, you know, what's the point, you know? Like, if I'm just gonna end up hating my job anyways, I might as well just leave and start working and make money that way. Because then, at least, I'll have something to show for my efforts, rather than just debt, which, if you're my age and American, you definitely understand college debt and how scary that is. Because if you look back, like fucking like older millennials now, like people in their 40s are still paying off college debt from when they went to college. you know, like 20 years ago. And that's fucking terrifying. I don't want to live the rest of my life in debt. I don't want to have to worry about that. And obviously, you know, the jobs that these people go into ultimately do not end up making up for what is lost in terms of just a current debt. You know, their salaries in the fields they go into aren't enough to cover their to pay off their debt in a timely manner, which is truly, in my opinion, a gross indictment of the state of the education system, and a clear sign that things need to change. Okay, is this gonna be the second death? Yes, it is. I think I'm just gonna grab new stuff. Yeah. I'm just gonna grab new stuff. I'm not gonna worry about what I just lost. Because it all just washed away into a deeper and scarier part of that cave, and I don't want to go there. That entire cave was pretty terrifying, to be honest. There's lava everywhere, you know? But yeah, college in the US is kind of bullshit, because, like, you know, you go to college for 4 years, at minimum, most people. I've looked at jobs and stuff. I haven't seen a lot that, you know, that you would benefit from having an associate's degree when going into. So 4 years is kind of the minimum, at least in the kind of fields that I've looked at, to benefit from having gone to college. And of course I didn't put anything in a chest. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of having the chest now, doesn't it? But yeah, I don't know how long I'm going to make this video. It's gone on for over half an hour now. I don't want to make it too long. I might call it at like 35 minutes or something like that. I don't want there to be a hard deadline, because, you know, I'm going to talk about whatever I'm going to talk about, and it's going to take as long as it's going to take. But, you know, I don't want to upload like 3-hour videos that nobody's going to watch. And I certainly don't want that taking up all that space on my hard drive. That wouldn't be fun. Yeah, let's recreate our tool set. I think I saw some iron at the top of that ravine. I need to play this more carefully. I'm playing this like, I'm used to easy mode because that's the default on servers and stuff. So whenever I make a server with my friends, that's usually the difficulty we end up on. And it's even easier because, you know, you've got other people there to help protect you. I don't have that here. It's just me and my world. Which I think, you know, I've always thought of as kind of lonely. Like, I didn't want to... It's one of the reasons I didn't want to play single player for so long. Is because, you know... Well, first of all, Minecraft to me had always been a means of socialization and of, you know, having good times with my friends rather than, you know, something that I played for the sake of the gameplay. And the gameplay is fun. I do enjoy Minecraft. But I did and do enjoy Minecraft, I should say. But, you know, never enough for me to choose to play single player over multiplayer, because, you know, back in middle and high school, you don't have shit to do. You know, you might have a part-time job outside of school that you do, like, you know, after school for a couple hours, or like on the weekends for longer periods of time. But I never did, and some of my friends had jobs in high school. But, well, I had a job in high school too, but it was one of those, you know, like, few hours after school type things. So, you know, we'd stay up late, and we'd have plenty of time then to play Minecraft together, and we'd always have that time because, our schedules were mostly the same. So it was very easy to hop on Minecraft together whenever we felt like it. And, I don't really have that anymore because all of my friends have grown up. We're all busy now. We've got jobs. I'm still only working part-time. I still live with my parents, but I think that's fine for now, honestly. It is a goal of mine, in the next few years to get out of here, but I'm 19 years old, so I don't think it's that bad at all that I'm living with my parents still. It does get chaotic and loud sometimes, though, and that does bother me a lot. Which is kind of strange that it does, because, I've lived with these people for literally my entire life, and it didn't bother me too much in the past. I don't know. I've got two younger brothers, and the older of the two has some, like, pretty bad, well, not bad, but, like, severe, I guess, autism. And he yells and screams and cries a lot. And I think it's worse now because he's 18. So he's got a big, loud man voice now. It was a little more bearable when he was a kid because, kids are just like that sometimes. They cry, they scream, they whine. It happens. But, this guy shakes the house when he gets upset now. It's not fun. But, it's not the end of the world. I love my brothers. And I wouldn't trade them, Even though they drive me crazy. I love them. And I'm glad that I can say that because I know a lot of people have siblings that they genuinely hate. And, I'm very lucky to be not have to be one of those people. My siblings definitely don't deserve to be hated. And I don't hate them because of that. Yeah. Not to say that all of my hatred is always rational, of course. That would be ridiculous. I think irrational hatred is kind of a funny thing sometimes. It can be very dangerous sometimes because you've got, like bigots and stuff who are, their hatred is irrational and very, very harmful, but it's also just like harmless sometimes. Like my mother hates the band Jethro Tull with a burning passion. I have no fucking clue why. I've asked her why she hates it because I think Jethro Tull's all right. I like this kind of bands. I like 70s bands. I like prog bands. I love that kind of music in general. So, I'm not big into Jethro Tull, but that's obviously a little bit of a conflict. Not serious, of course. It's music. But, and I think people who take stuff like that seriously, like if you're going to cut someone off because they don't like a particular kind of music or something like that, you're a piece of shit, Same with people who would like make a big deal about what kind of phone you have, because like I feel like that's more common here than elsewhere because worldwide Android phones are by and large the majority, but in the United States at least, and probably other Western countries too, but I haven't bothered to look at statistics or anything, iPhones reign supreme, and it's kind of you get looked down upon by certain people. Not a lot of people. I haven't met many people who do this, but it definitely is a phenomenon where people will hate on you for having an Android phone, for sending a text to an iPhone user and having your text bubbles appear as green, which indicates that you're using SMS instead of iMessages proprietary protocol. And that's one of the dumbest things I can think of, honestly. Like, you know, I get that. I kind of understand it more if you're like a kid. If you're like 12 or 13, you're really immature. You're a middle schooler, right? Middle schoolers are the worst human beings on the planet. I'd know because I was one of them, and I was particularly bad. I was on 4chan regularly when I was in middle school, and I don't think that I have to explain to you why that's bad. Um, but thankfully, I've completely changed as a person. I've found out a lot of things about myself, about this world that have changed my outlook on pretty much everything since then. And I'm grateful that I've gone down the path that I have instead of one of hatred and reaction. Um, I don't want to get too serious or political right now, but I might in later episodes because that's just you know I like talking about that kind of stuff. I don't want to make it my whole personality though, so I'll leave it out of this episode. Um, what was I talking about? What what was I talking about? I didn't do anything because I didn't. Well, I lost my train of thought because my screen fell asleep because I haven't touched an input in like 5ish minutes. So it went to the lock screen. I don't know if you guys could see that. I hope you couldn't see me typing in my password. Um, but I'll just black the screen out if that's the case because I am going to run this through a video editor before I upload it. Um, because I need to. Because I've recorded the mic and desktop audio tracks separately because I like being able to mix them after the fact and to be able to load the mic audio into Audacity and make it clean it up a little bit, remove the noise because there's an AC unit running in the other room and you can probably hear it if I've not done it yet, which hopefully you won't be able to, but if I haven't cleaned things up yet, that's the case. Um, but yeah, it's important to do like audio processing. I don't want a ton of noise. There's always going to be a little bit of noise because noise is kind of an inevitability of life, but that's okay. You know, I'm not looking for like perfect production quality. I just want to make some videos. I don't want them to be particularly high effort. I have made high effort videos in the past. Back to the geology class thing. Um, I we would so whenever we'd learn about a new part of geology, we'd have to make like these PowerPoint presentations on them, and that was cool and all. But I'm special, right? Um, take that as you will. In it for as in what way, in which way I mean that. That's up to your interpretation. But you could also make videos if you wanted to. So I did. I'd pour a ton of time into gathering assets and writing a script, recording my voice lines, editing everything, and putting it on unlisted on YouTube on my high school Google account. And you know, surprisingly, people in my class loved those videos and had a lot of fun making them. They were high effort. And I think part of it was that, it was a grade, so I had to do it. And I think that's what motivated me to do it. But also I do enjoy the video making process, but it's also hard for me to find topics that I want to make videos on regularly and put that much effort into, which, um, that kind of um, the class helped in that way as well because we were given the topic, we had something we had to research, and that helped a lot. I just noticed it's been 45 minutes. I meant to end this video like 10 minutes earlier. But yeah, we didn't get a whole lot of Minecrafting done. I've got stone tools and a little house with no windows. I guess I can make a furnace. Let's make a furnace before we leave. I feel like that's an accomplishment right there. Because you see, now we can make a shovel. Grab this sand. Of course, 2 bits of sand have landed on the outside of the house on opposite sides, so I have to walk around the entire thing to get it. Yeah, I forgot I inset the door. I like doing this because even on like super simple, stupid builds like this, it gives it a lot more depth. It's nice. I'm definitely not a pro builder, but I try a little bit. But yeah, like I said earlier, I do like making videos. I've made a lot for school. I made a couple for my other channel, Hypercanaria, which I've run with my friends. I'll link to it. It's linked in my channel, I believe, but I'll also link to it in the description. And I'll put a little card in the top right now, in case you want to check that out. And you've made it this far in the video, which I doubt you have, because I've been rambling for 46 minutes, and I don't know anyone who'd want to sit here and listen to me do that. But yeah, we got a nice little house going so far, and I just noticed that the glass isn't joined because I'd never enabled the resource pack that does that. Done. There we go. Looks nice now. Anyways, I think that'll be all for now. We've definitely gone on long enough. I hope that whoever you are, you're having a wonderful day, and that you continue to have a wonderful day after this. This is Woodrow signing out.